Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're going to start with something that is helpful to you. You know how I like to unwind with a drink every now and then, maybe at dinner, out with friends, or a long night after the show. But I have learned the hard way that a good night shouldn't mean a bad morning. That's why I use Z-Biotics pre-alcohol. It's a probiotic drink. It is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic made by real PhD scientists, and it helps your body process what actually makes you feel rough after drinking. I first tried it a night before I went out to a friend's party in the city, had my cocktail, got home late, woke up early the next day feeling surprisingly fresh, like I'd actually slept for 8 hours and nothing the night before. Now I make it my first drink of the night and I drink responsibly. So if you've got holiday party plans, tailgates, or just a weekend out, bring Z-Biotics with you. Go to zbiotics.com/lemon to get 15% off of your first order with the code LEMON. They've got a 100% money back guarantee, no questions asked.
Tonight, 8 Democrats voted with the Republicans to allow them to go forward on this continuing resolution. And to my mind, this was a very, very bad vote. What it does, first of all, is it raises healthcare premiums for over 20 million Americans by doubling, and in some cases tripling or quadrupling. People can't afford that when we are already paying the highest prices in the world for healthcare. Number two, it paves the way for 15 million people to be thrown off of Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. Studies show that will mean that some 50,000 Americans will die every year unnecessarily. And all of that was done to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1%. As everybody knows, just on Tuesday, we had an election all over this country. And what the election showed is that the American people want us to stand up to Trumpism, to his war against working class people, to his authoritarianism. That is what the American people wanted, but tonight, that is not what happened. So we've got to go forward, do the best that we can to try to protect working class people, to make sure that the United States not only does not throw people off of health care, but ends the absurdity of being the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee health care to all people. We got a lot of work to do. But to be honest with you, tonight was not a good night. Thank you.
Wait till I'm not.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Don Lemon Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Just before we get started, I'm going to say I'm with Bernie on this one, and I have gathered a great group of people to discuss. Thanks for joining. Make sure you hit the like, the thumbs up. It does affect the algorithm. More people become aware of our conversation. I know there's going to be great engagement. I see it already because people I'm pissed. Welcome. And I've got a bunch of people. They have great shows on YouTube. I went to independent media and independent journalists because this is where it is and we can speak how we want. Reecie Colbert is the host of
The Reecie Colbert Show on Sirius XM Urban View.
Michael Fanone, the host of the Michael Fanone Show on YouTube. And you can follow me on Instagram and also my Substack platform.
Pass that down to those guys.
Jack Cocchiarella, host of the Jack Cocchiarella Show on YouTube. And you all know who it is.
Jolly Good Ginger, host of Jolly Good Ginger on everything.
So thank you guys for joining us. Look, when I told you guys I was coming here, and I had no idea that this was going to happen. Yeah. I just happened to get to D.C. Let me tell you my journey last night. Now I understand they're saying people are hurting. We went through the airport last night, Mike and I. When I got there, the TSA line was not that long, right, because there were so many flights that had been delayed and canceled. I think people probably, before they got to the airport, they said, plus it was Sunday in the middle of the afternoon, it may have been a bit different. But then I talked to the guy who was in the TSA line, and he said, it's been tough because a lot of people aren't showing up at work, right? And either they're calling in sick. And then when I got to the other side, the guy checked my bag because I had the camera equipment in there, and he's like, what is that? I said, it's a tripod or whatever. And I started talking to him, and he said, I'm about to miss 3 paychecks.
Yeah.
So I get it. And then our flight was delayed for 3 hours, and then we sat on the runway. I get that. But you guys know how Donald Trump has been telling people the entire time, short-term pain.
Right.
Short-term pain. Mm-hmm. And then wait till in the long run, it's going to be great for you. Mm-hmm. And they bought it.
Yeah.
And Democrats had the leverage. The polls were on their side. Mm-hmm. They won last Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they back away from a fight that they were winning. I don't understand it.
Well, just to even make the point on like air travel, because I feel like this has become such a big topic of the conversation when you're talking about the effects of the shutdown. We're looking towards Thanksgiving. There's already been reporting about just like the mass retirings that are happening. And Sean Duffy even said, like, come Thanksgiving, things won't be fine. You're still going to feel these effects. So it makes you come back to Democrats. If you were always going to like bitch out and you were going to cave, why did you allow so much pain? And like, what message did we get across? I just don't understand. It doesn't make sense. The effects already happened. The impacts are there. People were hurt by this, and they don't want to hear anybody's excuses about how the maybe, the vote, and the December, and the man, and we'll see, and Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson doesn't give a shit about a promise that you made with John Thune, and just people are hurt, and then they don't care about the fake promise.
And to add to that, here's my problem. There's this argument that they had to do something because Republicans weren't going to budge. They weren't going to cave. Republicans were going to stick to it, and they didn't care if people died. Do you think that's going to change in January when you get this imaginary vote, or December when you get this imaginary vote? If you truly believe that you had to make this deal because Republicans would let people die rather than make a deal, then you should have stuck to your guns that you're already 40 days into. Yeah. Like you said, Republicans got their back against the wall. Voters just showed up on Tuesday. These furloughed federal workers, yes, they're going without pay. Yes, it sucks for them. But even these furloughed federal workers are standing up and saying, at least the Dems are fighting. We want to see them fight. We like that. And so if you believe the Democrat or Republicans are just going to let people die, then hold the line, because they're going to let people die in December when you get the vote any goddamn way.
Well, because the outcome in the end, it's a better outcome. And look, I'm more than willing, and I won't tell you what I have done, but I'm more than willing to help sponsor a family, all right? Because I know in the end, healthcare, affordable healthcare is important to every single person in America.
Yeah.
And if people can have affordable healthcare, and if they can have affordable healthcare, then they can end up dying. So I understand that the long-term goal outweighs what's going to happen. I don't want anybody not to have a great Thanksgiving or not to whatever. I'd be more than willing to help out with that. But I think that Democrats, the one time that they had to fight against this authoritarian regime, to show that they had some backbone, and that and to put Republicans, like, to move the needle with Republicans and with MAGA to back to a country that is manageable, and they just went, well, I'm sorry, so many people are hurting. And it's like, Republicans knew that Democrats were going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not a Democrat, but people who are not MAGA have big hearts.
Right, yeah.
Democrats have big hearts, and they go, okay, I feel bad for suffering. Sometimes you just got to go, you got to do what you got to do.
Do they have big hearts, Don, or do they have a weak spine and a weak backbone? Because from my perspective, like, what I've seen is a Democratic Party, again, speaking as not a Democrat, unwilling to meet the moment, unwilling to respond to the will of the people. I mean, we saw in No Kings 1, No Kings 2, which was a, record-setting protest in the history of this country. The 250 years of this country, Don, we had 7 million plus Americans come out and stand up and say, we don't want this administration. And what do the Democrats do? They seemingly respond in that they are willing to shut down, allow for the government shutdown. And listen, I'm someone I knew ahead of this that I was going to lose access to health care in 2026. Right. I cannot afford the increases that have been proposed because I buy my insurance on the marketplace. I will not have health insurance in 2026. I knew that, that we were not going to get these subsidies. But like so many other Americans that I've spoken to over the past weeks and months, it wasn't about that. It was about standing up and showing that you were willing to fight on behalf of the American people that have had enough of this unlawful, immoral administration.
Yeah. Reecie, I want you to weigh in. I know Reese's going to say what she has to say. But Democrats are painting this. Last night I was like watching Tim Kaine and was Angus King, trying to paint this as a win. frame this as a win. And then this morning, Jeanne Shaheen and all those guys going on TV saying, well, this is a win. And some of the anchors saying, well, Democrats should take the win. I'm like, a win? How is this a fucking win?
No. First of all, if you're looking for a Democratic spin, turn the TV off.
Okay.
As Don Lemon would say. Because that's not what this is going to be. You do not get to gaslight America after you cashed a check or after you wrote a check that your ass couldn't cash. They could have avoided all this and just funded the fucking government 40 days ago. I could have lived with that. I could have said, hey, listen, when you vote Republicans, you get Republican policies. Democrats can't stop Republican policies from being implemented, but you don't get to tell us all to saddle up and ride at dawn for healthcare and then be like, just kidding, 40 days after misery has been inflicted. Republicans manufactured every bit of harm that was caused by this. Sean Duffy said we're going to cancel flights. There was no reason for it to do it. And then that accelerated people not showing up for work and things like that. Trump held SNAP benefits hostage, but the courts had Trump on the ropes. The public opinion was against the Republicans, and the Democrats folded. I know not all of them, but at the end of the day, you need a united caucus to combat an authoritarian regime, period. Yeah. And so why take people through all this if you're going to just fucking cave? And then to try to patronize us and throw a rock and hide your hand, Chuck Schumer, and acting like, oh, it's these gang of eight who no, you're behind this.
What was the gang of eight? They're not up for re-election.
Yeah.
What's actually craziest about that?
Go ahead, and then hand it back to Reece, please.
Is the last person to join was Tim Kaine, right? And his reason why he said, I got on board a little late, because there are already some rumblings. There were Democrats. Fetterman was voting yes the whole time. But what Tim Kaine said in the press conference last night, which was the worst thing I've watched all year.
It was terrible, right?
I'm sure we're going to check out some clips. It was embarrassing. But what Tim Kaine said is, I got in last because, I wasn't really focused on the shutdown. I was more focused on elections in Virginia. I was so caught up in that, I wasn't really thinking about the minutia. If you were watching the elections in Virginia, what you saw is people overwhelmingly turned out to say, Democrats, have a fucking spine, fight back, stand up to this administration. There are so many furloughed, fired, pissed off federal workers in your state. You should understand that they showed up to the polls and said, we need you to continue to fight. So it's an idiotic thing to say, and that's all I'm seeing is just idiotic statements from these Dems.
Yeah. I want to jump in real quick, Jolly, in that nobody showed up to vote for Abigail Spanberger because she was some inspirational character. She ran a campaign of, I'm going to say nothing. I'm going to let my opponent out crazy everything and everyone. And she stood in the shadows. She's not a fighter. She didn't inspire anyone. The people that voted for her, like myself, they voted for her because they were looking to oppose the Trump administration. And that's just a fact. I don't know a single solitary Spanberger voter that turned out because they were so inspired by her or her campaign.
Like that. Yeah. But can I just say, we're not upset that the government is on the way to reopening. We never wanted people to suffer. What we're upset about is, what was the fucking point? If you were going to get jack shit, what was the point of it all? You could have just,
like to be humiliated.
Yeah. And here's the thing. We lost 8 or 10 million Biden voters in 2024. Democrats, even Democrat voters are some bitch asses, have shown that they will stay home if they are not motivated. They have shown that if you cannot make a distinction to them as to how your policies and your leadership will move the needle, you can say racism, sexism, all kind of stuff, but we got our ass kicked when it came to the popular vote for the House and Congress, which is rare that we lose the popular vote for that. We got our ass kicked in the Senate as well. So people have already shown us that if Democrats do not move the needle for them, or they don't feel like that, they will stay home. And so the idea that this is somehow some kind of 10-dimensional chess for 2026 that will improve our chances of winning is delusional. The only thing that potentially will save Democrats is if there is apocalyptic misery that will force people to vote because they will vote for a potato sack over Republicans. That's what we saw on Tuesday.
And we were almost there. We were on the verge of apocalyptic misery led by Republicans, and I believe that every Democratic voter knows that Republicans were responsible for what was happening. Listen, at the end of the day, if we look at how Democrats consistently vote, it's not with us, the constituents. How many of us were calling the phones? How many of us were going? I personally, thankfully, because of my job, I have contacts in Senate. I contacted Tim Kaine's office personally last night. Said, Tim Kaine, not as a creator, I'm your constituent. We don't want you to vote yes on this. Don't vote yes on this. My voice didn't matter. The only thing that matters is these donors' voices. Yep. Listen, Democrats you can bet on taxes coming next year and Democrats never being able to read the fucking room. Yeah. We just got a great victory on November 4th, an amazing victory, and not even a week later, Democrats said, how can we fuck up this momentum we have? How can we fuck up this hope that everybody's feeling? How can we destroy the hope that people have? Oh, I know. Let's cave for no fucking reason. What we got out of this, federal workers got something out of this, and that's good. Federal workers would have got this either way. Hold the fucking line on health care like you said you were going to. That's a motherfucking.
So here's my thing. So last night, as I was watching some of the reporting and talking to sources, and they were like, well, Chuck Schumer hasn't really even been involved in the negotiations. And then I'm like, wait, what?
The leader?
So what is that? The leader. What does that say about his leadership? He hasn't been involved in the negotiations, and he's going to vote no. I'm like, what does that even mean? What does that mean?
It means that they think we're stupid. That's what it means. Yeah. Either they think we're stupid, or you are a feckless, worthless leader, and you should resign your position or both. Or both. It's embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing, and this is why people think Democrats are weak. This is why the Democratic brand is in the tank. And I know people are saying, don't blame all Democrats. Don't blame all Democrats. When the minority leader says, oh, did I do that? Did they do that? Oh, I don't know how this happened. It makes all Democrats look weak. Let's just be fucking for real. I need people to come to reality and realize how bad this makes Democrats look. And not just how bad this makes Democrats look, but how much worse it's going to get, because this is emboldening the hell out of Republicans. They know that they can extort any kind of concession out of Democrats because we don't have the stomach or the spine for it.
Yeah. And I think that you talk about the failure of leadership from Chuck Schumer. Don, you opened the show, clip from Bernie. You said, I'm backing Bernie. Bernie woke up this morning, and he got even more involved in defining what the Senate's going to look like come 2026 with an endorsement of Peggy Flanagan, who is the lieutenant governor of Minnesota. She was posting last night about this is an abomination, this is disappointing, this is feckless, this is weak. But earlier in the day, she was tweeting, I'm not taking money from AIPAC, I'm not taking corporate money. And those are the types of candidates that Bernie has endorsed in these primaries, in these Senate races so far. And I think Bernie is the leader right now in the Senate.
Bernie's endorsed? Sorry. You know what else Bernie's endorsed? Medicare for all.
Yep.
Bernie has endorsed universal health care in a way that makes sense to Americans because we're the only fucking developed nation that will let you die with diabetes. Diabetes, the root word is not supposed to be die, but in America it is. Because in this country, what's about to happen now that Democrats have caved is these premiums are going to get so high, you're not going to be able to afford fucking insulin. Bernie has been right from the beginning on doing the most basic thing that you can do, and that's just give health care to Americans. And oh, by the way, had we listened to Bernie on this fact 15 years ago, 20 years ago, then they wouldn't be able to play with ACA subsidies. They wouldn't be able to play with American health care because it wouldn't be a fucking issue. So when Democrats say to us, oh, well, we had to make a decision, it was either people starve or get health care, are you dumb?
Can I say,
fight
if
for
we had
real
listened to
healthcare.
John Conyers, because he was the original sponsor of Medicare for All. But let me put this on the voters, too, because we could talk about who Bernie endorses. We could talk about all these progressives. We could talk about the old guard, all these things. But people got to get their ass out and vote. And unfortunately, this makes it harder for us to get a new wave of people in there. But at the end of the day, people continue to stay their ass at home and allow either A, Republicans to win, or bad Democrats to win these primaries and get reelected. So there has to be some accountability for the voters. But today, I'm still feeling all the smoke for the Democrats for putting us on this worthless, pointless shutdown battle.
And there's only one thing that they can do right now. Well, not like Senate Democrats aren't going to do it. But I need to start seeing, and I haven't seen it on my timeline enough so far, there's got to be a little talk at Adelita Grijalva right now. We got to start talking about these Epstein files again.
Yes.
Right, because if we're getting fucking nothing out of this, then at least start ringing the alarm bells. Because I just haven't seen enough of that. And I know we need to take the moment and be like, what the fuck is our leadership doing? But also, let's snap right back into this. Can we pick the momentum up? Like House Democrats, Jeffries put out his statement. I don't want to see a statement from Hakeem Jeffries. I'm going to say, all right, Republicans, if you're getting what you want, it's time to bring the House back into session. You're going to do it Wednesday. I want Adelita Grijalva sworn in the second Mike Johnson touches down in D.C. It's time to see some Epstein files, because I think that we understand, or maybe Jeffries for the first time in a while does understand, like, where the momentum is going, and people are furious right now. We have lost so much trust long term in our party leadership and just in the party generally. So if we are not immediately talking about Epstein, I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah. Well, what was Donald Trump doing while all of these negotiations were going on last night? What has he been doing over the last 39, 40 days?
Trump?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that after a word from our sponsors. Support comes from Graza. Now, let me tell you something. If you're looking for the perfect gift this season, forget socks. Give olive oil. Seriously, I'm serious. Graza is my go-to. Their olive oil is always fresh, single origin, never blended. You can even see the harvest date right on the bottle. Their new dinner party pack is genius. It comes with a limited edition bottle of wine, 2 kinds of olive oil, a corkscrew, and even Evo potato chips. That's an instant dinner party in a box. So I've been using Graza for everything from Sunday pasta to roasting vegetables, and it just makes food taste brighter, richer, better. Head over to graza.co/Don and use the code Don to get 10% off of your first order. I'd grab that dinner party pack, and their duo gift set is perfect for the cook or foodie in your life. Graza.co/Don Lemon. Support for the show comes from Lean. Now, you ever notice that every few years there's a new diet everyone is talking about? I've seen them. And most of them, I've tried a lot of them. Most of them don't last. What I didn't know is how much that yo-yoing, it can actually hurt your health. Doctors call it weight cycling. Losing 10 pounds, gaining 15 back. It's stressful on your body and your heart. And that's why I like Lean. It's not a fad. It is a doctor-developed supplement. It's not an injection. It helps your body manage blood sugar, reduce cravings, and actually burn fat for energy. I've added it to my daily routine. And it's been a steady, realistic way to stay on track. No extremes, no nonsense. So if you're ready to do something that lasts, go to takelean.com and use the code LEMON to get 20% off. That's TAKELEAN.com and use the code LEMON.
Looks like we're getting very close to the shutdown. We'll never agree to give any substantial money or any money to really prisoners, illegals that come into our country. And I think the Democrats understand that. And it looks like we're getting close to the shutdown ending. You'll know very soon. Thank you.
Will it end tonight, sir?
How we're doing?
Well, we're doing great, and recruitment is doing phenomenally. People have spirit. Our stock market hit an all-time high. Prices are coming down. We inherited a mess. Prices are coming way down. And I'll tell you, our country has over $17 trillion being invested in it, which is a record. So we're doing great. We're doing great. And recruitment is doing phenomenally. People have spirit. Our stock market hit an all-time high. Prices are coming down.
Because it was like they had to go like you wouldn't get out. No, you couldn't get out of the hotel. Like they wouldn't.
Is Donald Trump for real? Well, he was okay. First of all, he knew that there was a deal. He lied about it. He lied and said, we're not going to have illegals getting health care. Illegals don't get health care.
Right.
Or undocumented people don't get health care. Right. Migrants don't get health care unless there's an emergency, right? There are exceptions, but in general, they don't get subsidies at all. Nope. And then he gets booed at the game, and it was live on Fox, which was just amazing. But then he got on there and he lied about the economy, saying that energy prices are down and prices are going down and the economy is great and jobs are great. It's like, what world is he living in? And people actually, the folks who are watching Fox are actually going to believe that.
Well, some of them, but I mean, look at his ratings on the economy. They're in the tank. So I think that you can't gaslight people so much. There are people who aren't experiencing the harm of his policies that are like, yeah, things are great. But most people know that things are shit and as a result of Donald Trump. But let's also talk about the fact that he pardoned all of his co-conspirators in that and I know you probably have something to say about that, in that 2022 election coup attempt. These people feel untouchable. And unfortunately, this shutdown fight only confirms that nobody is there to check them.
Facts. And let me just say this.
If I eat a piece of your bacon.
Oh, go ahead.
Let me say this about the game yesterday. So I was at the game. Shout out to Governor Wes Moore for inviting me. The boo was so loud. The boos were so loud. I was distracted doing something else because I was following this Senate Dem.
You were at the game?
Yeah. I was in the box with Governor Wes Moore.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah. And we were, it was a
It's a humble brag.
It was a Veterans Day thing. But I was tracking on my phone the Senate Democrats caving in, and I heard this boo. It was so loud. It was such a loud boo. I said, what the hell? Looked up. Donald Trump's on the Jumbotron. I was like, yes, they're booing the shit out of him. So I recorded it, obviously. But this is my point to the Democrats right now. 2/3 of this country is nowhere near on board with what's happening. 2/3 of this country is against Donald Trump. 2/3 of this country is booing Donald Trump. I mean, when it comes to popularity, he doesn't have it. And so for once the Democrats were doing something right, like Reecie said, was holding the line, had everybody's back against the wall. Their move was popular. What Democrats were doing was popular. And somehow still managed to fuck it up. And here's my theory. It's holiday season, and all their corporate donors need them to open the government back up and get the airlines moving so that all the corporations don't lose money. Fuck what the constituents say. What does corporate money say? That's my theory.
Yeah. And it's pretty obvious why Trump is back to this healthcare lie. It's like he's talking about, the illegals stealing your healthcare, because they know what's next is this healthcare fight. But they're not going to actually have a vote on it. They're not going to have a vote on it because Trump is saying, it's the illegals. So why would they have a vote if it's for the illegals? Like, Trump is already setting the narrative. He's already making it very clear that this vote isn't going to happen. And I'm tired of seeing Democrats just kind of do the half response and go, well, Donald Trump is lying about illegals taking your health care. Actually, undocumented people in this country pay over $100 billion in taxes every year. It's mostly payroll taxes. So it's Social Security, it's Medicare, it's unemployment benefits. These are things they're not accessing.
Correct.
They're supplementing your health care. They're not stealing it. And I feel like we are always playing on their terms. We're always having this discussion how they want to. And I know it's like, maybe today's not the day to go, Democrats should have some spine, because clearly that request is just way too far. But I'm really tired of every argument being had on their terms. Whenever we're talking about crime, we got to go, well, a Republican really liked what I did here. Republicans are really approving of this. It's like, no. Like, what we do when Democrats have success is successful because of Democrats. It's not because a Republican gave us a little attaboy, a little pat on the head. And every time that we have the discussion on those terms, we're losing. Every time we need them to reward us for doing something, we're losing. And I'm just so sick and tired of it, and it's happening again.
But they're always writing the script and shaping the narrative. The thing, and then, like, if someone else gets a hold of the pen and starts writing the script, right, they come back and, we got to edit this. And then they win on the edit. You're like, wait, what is going on here? The thing is, though, if I were a Democrat, I'm sorry, Democrats, I would turn in my membership card. If I were a Democrat now, I would turn in my membership card and say, you know what, I'm out. I was joking with my friend, but half of mine, I was like, these Democrats are going to make me turn into a Republican. Like, I'm sick of this.
Oh, hell no.
No, let me tell you. Let me tell you why.
Whoa.
No, I know, I'm kidding. That will never happen. But because, did you say cancel, Don? Yeah. But because of the messaging, let me tell you why. Because Donald Trump goes last night. Remember, you're paying for this money. He flies low over the stadium.
Yes.
That fuel is coming out of your taxpayer money, your hard-earned money, or the money that these people are not getting paid. He flies low over the stadium, and then he gets there. The messaging, it's all so great. It's because he's tanking. They sent him to the game to try to up his popularity and his approval. He gets there, not only does he go to the game, he does something and they boo the shit out of him, but then he does that interview that we just showed, right? He does the interview. They send him there when the Washington Commanders had the ball. They're headed into the end zone. He does an interview and he goes, they need to get a touchdown here. And then he talks about the economy, lies about it. And then they get a touchdown. I'm like, Democrats, come on, like learn some shit. From the Republicans. That they need to learn from the Republicans. Do I want to be a Republican? No, I'm just saying. I was just trying to make a point last night. But also, Mike, you can talk about that. But then Donald Trump is down there at Mar-a-Lago while people are not getting paid at a fucking Great Gatsby party where there are scantily clad women dancing in champagne glasses. And Democrats are worried about, well, you know, how is it going to look? And people are starving or whatever. Because people are starving, sadly, but look at what the other side is doing.
No, I mean, they're more worried about their financial donors than they are about the will of the American people. At the end of the day, I mean...
Be specific. Financial donors like what?
AIPAC, the crypto lobby. Do you know how much money crypto gave? Do you know how much money crypto gave more money than any other corporate interest by far in the last election? And they were given to Democrats. They spent $30 million to beat Sherrod Brown, but they also gave, it was $20 million to Slotkin, not directly, but they spent it to make sure she could win. She voted for that Genius Act, by the way. All these Democrats, and they're right to say, we should not allow members of Congress to trade stocks. The Genius Act, the crypto bill that they passed, that crypto wrote for them, doesn't allow members of Congress to trade, to buy crypto, right? And they have a major influence over it. But do you know who it does allow to do that? The President of the United States.
Yeah.
And why? Because Donald Trump has allowed crypto to run wild. Right. So there are Democrats who are owned right now by these crypto companies, by this lobby, and it is just crazy. I'm sorry, this one drives me crazy.
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, that's, I mean, at the end of the day, going back to No Kings and the American people and what Jolly was saying, 2/3 of the American people are against this. Let me remind everybody, fascist, authoritarian regime that has weaponized our law enforcement and our military against the American people. There's a lot of Americans, myself included, who don't buy into the Democratic strategy of, well, we're going to crush it in 2026. I don't think 2026 is ever going to happen, folks. I don't think we're going to have free and fair elections. So I'm not here to.
He's not wrong.
Right. I don't believe it. I believe that the reason that we're deploying military troops into Democratic cities, I don't think it's just for the optics and for Donald Trump to show that he's, some badass. I think it comes down to the fact that he's normalizing these troops in our streets, and he doesn't plan on having free and fair elections. And that's why he's not running scared, because he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit how, adversely affected the average American is by his policies. He doesn't care about the optics of throwing some ritzy fucking party while people are starving. He does not give a shit. Building a fucking ballroom. And guess what else? And it shouldn't be glossed over, because you brought up an excellent point. Every single person that was involved in the attempted stealing of the 2020 election, Rudy Giuliani, fucking Mark Meadows, Donald Trump just pardoned all those people. Those were the people that were criminally responsible for trying to overthrow. They are traitors to this country. Traitors to this country, Donald Trump included. And they have been pardoned by this president. So don't let that, don't let that somehow skip over in the news coverage. Donald Trump is an insurrectionist. This Republican Party is an insurrectionist party, the same as the Confederates of old. They are traitors to this country. And the Democrats, I've washed my fucking hands of them a long time ago. I'm not relying on them. In fact, here's my message to Lemon Nation and anyone else that's watching. Stop giving money to Democrats. Stop volunteering for their campaigns, and show up to the protests that people like myself and Jolly are trying to organize to stand up to this regime, because at least we're willing to put it on the line to stop this administration, while Democrats are going to cave and pussy out.
Look, all right, Mike.
Say what he said.
It's the piston.
The opinions and thoughts of these guests does not reflect. No, I'm kidding. Here, but listen, you bring up a very good point. I was speaking to someone, my friend who is a professor, and he studies authoritarian regimes. And he said, I don't know why people are sitting around pretending that 2026 is going to happen. He said the same thing that you said, Mike. He said, what authoritarian regime, what dictator has ever an authoritarian regime in power has ever allowed a democratically elected or democratic election to happen on their watch.
And lose.
And lose. Yeah, and lose.
They ever let an opposition party try to run and win? Do we have an opposition party? Right? Like, you talk about like
Control.
Yeah. You talk about like what 2026 is going to look like. Is Donald Trump not going to let the opposition party win, or is the opposition party not going to oppose? Because we had Angus King on, was it Fox or CNN this morning, saying, well, we tried to fight Donald Trump and it just doesn't work. We can't beat Donald Trump. What are you talking about? You can't beat Donald Trump, that it doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand all of these institutions and all of these like establishment Dems going, well, Donald Trump's just going to beat us. He's just going to win. We might as well give up. Harvard and Columbia and
Jack.
Wall Street and media companies just going, got to bend the knee. You don't have to bend the knee. People power is so much stronger.
Right.
And
we see this
so weak too. Like,
please speak on it.
No, real quick. I want to say this.
Talk about the booze again.
Yeah.
It's so loud.
I want to say this one thing. You brought up 2026 election not being free and fair. We just gave $40 billion to Argentina. Hey, MAGA, we gave $40 billion to Argentina. That's not America first. And the Argentinian president was going to 100% lose his election until he got $40 million from the U.S. And we're attacking Venezuela. If you don't know how those two things are connected, no problem, I'll hook you up. So Argentina doesn't like Venezuela. But you know what Maduro did in Venezuela? Stole the election. So what all these things have in common is rigged fucking
Didn't I just
elections.
say that?
Yeah.
Didn't I just say
So here's my point. Here's my point. You got Donald Trump meddling in the affairs of Venezuela and Argentinian politics, which are both about elections that are rigged and neither are free and fair. The reason that the Argentinian president's doing the stupid ass dance. Can we stop pretending like that's a fucking dance, by the way? That's a stroke. That's the whitest unseasoned shit I've ever fucking seen.
What dance are you talking about?
The fucking unseasoned Donald Trump.
Oh, the one where he's like doing.
Yeah, where he's double jerking. Yeah.
Rather than what? I'm not kink shaming anybody, whatever your kink is.
Supreme Court just said this morning we're going to allow it still.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah. If you want to, that's your business.
But the reason the Argentinian
is alcohol everywhere is that mimosas.
This is just gin. It's all straight gin.
This isn't even water. But the reason the Argentinian president's, doing the double jerk is because he was going to lose that election. So do we think that Donald Trump will try to rig or at least make unfair the 2026 election? Yes. He's doing it in other countries. What's going to stop him from doing it here?
Yeah, now that is a mimosa.
This is a mimosa.
Yeah.
It was Don's idea.
Well, can I just say maybe, because, there's always people thinking that this is 10-dimensional chess. Maybe the Democrats are playing possum right now, saying, hey, we're not the opposition party, so that we can have free and fair elections in 2026. No, of course not. But I will say that, we are taking for granted that this is going to be a matter of electoral politics in 2026 when right now Donald Trump is defying multiple court orders. And he has shown that he doesn't give a damn. Right now, ICE and Border Patrol is in Chicago shooting off tear gas. Yep. They are causing people to have seizures, ripping babies, kidnapping
shooting people in the back.
Shooting people, all kinds of things. So we're already there. This isn't on the verge. We're already there. And so I struggle because I can't say, fuck the Democrats ain't shit, because at the end of the day, we have a two-party system. I don't have any faith in all these people the 89 million people that stayed at home, all of a sudden saying, let's rise up and form a third party. And so being a pragmatic person, we're still operating under the constructs of Democrats and Republicans, and you can have whatever party affiliation that you want, but one of those two are going to win. And so I'm frustrated because this makes it harder to make the case to people that both parties aren't the same, that they aren't controlled by corporate interests, that, Democrats can fight, go all in on Democrats if you want to stop Republicans, because we went all in with Democrats on the shutdown and they got us jack shit. So I'm still a Democrat, like this. I'm like a Democrat like this.
Boy.
But I'm not happy, and I think we have every right to be pissed off. But at some point, and it's not going to be today, But at some point, we're going to have to confront the reality that we are in a two-party system, and one of these motherfuckers is going to win.
But before Jack says something, we can fight the two-party system, and Maurice with the Working Families Party is doing good shit.
I
check out
agree.
the Working Families Party.
Yes, absolutely.
I also think on the point of like this two-party system, it's a two-party system in which Democrats are kind of defined by what Republicans do.
Yeah.
Ever since Donald Trump came down that escalator, it's been respond, and by the time we get our kind of weak-ass statement out, Trump has done something else, and we got to respond to that. Like the best example of this to me right now, I talked about just like the bullshit lie about, the immigrants stealing your health care. The other one has been around SNAP. I am so fed up with all these disgusting posts that I see from blue check conservatives on Twitter where it's like, oh, you can get a box of cookies with, EBT. I want my tax dollars to pay for that. I want some kid on his birthday to go into class with a box of cookies so he doesn't have to feel different from the other kids, because this is the wealthiest fucking country in the history of the world, and people should be fed. And if there's one thing government should do, it should be to feed people and to give them health care and to give them housing and to make sure that we live in dignity. But Democrats have been on the back foot.
Hold on. How long have we been giving, EBT to giant corporations?
And that's the point. But here's the thing. Do you know who makes the most money? Who's mooching the most? It's Walmart. Because we are subsidizing them not paying their employees enough to live. And then do you know where so many billions of those dollars are spent? They're spent at Walmart. So we're subsidizing them not paying their employees. Then we're subsidizing their profits. And it's insane because all we hear is that like Zohran Mamdani is going to be bringing bread lines to New York City. Donald Trump has already brought the bread lines all across the country. And we just won't say like, yeah, people should eat. And it's okay if someone has a cookie. I saw some tweet that had like 200,000 likes from some insane person saying that like the only thing that people on Snap should get, and by the way, these are people who are working. These are people who aren't being paid enough to live. And they're working.
Even if they're not.
Or they can't work.
People should be able to fucking eat.
But people should be able to eat. And they're saying we should give them Nutriloaf, which is like what they feed people in prison to torture them. It's literally like, oh, it's disgusting, but it's enough to sustain basic human life. Basic human life. And at that very same time, we're seeing reports that Ghislaine Maxwell is getting DoorDash delivered to her prison.
Oh, yeah, and then working
that
on,
we're paying for.
And then working on having her sentence commuted. She's working on a commutation.
So how are we not saying as Democrats, hey, people should be able to eat and eat food that brings dignity to their lives. But the sex offender who's Donald Trump's best friend, and I guess a sex offender who is also Donald Trump, yeah, we shouldn't be shelling out for the 5-star, 4 seasons, ritzy prison experience that Ghislaine Maxwell gets. I don't know why we are so on the back foot and we have to say, well, there maybe is some abuse in the SNAP system, and maybe we want to look into that, and we're so sorry. We're so sorry. No, stand up, say it with your chest. People should eat. This is the wealthiest country in the world, and if you love America, you should want everyone in America to live with fucking dignity. And I don't know why we're always on the back foot.
But Jack, people are starving and the Republicans are mean, and I think in this whole process we have shown the American public just how awful the administration is and that Donald Trump doesn't
You showed how weak Democrats were.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, duh.
Listen, when
You have not. You have not.
When my son was 6 years old, and was my oldest child, so I was new to having a kid in school, I got a letter home that like his account was like $2 in negative or something. Oh, I'll go fix it. And I didn't know I could use the app. I went to the school. I said, hey, I want to fix my son's account. And she opened this book, and I could see over the counter is a book with a bunch of accounts in the negative. I said, what is that? She goes, oh, it's all the kids. I said, what happens if they're in the negative? She said, once it's past $20, kids can't eat. So I said, this is outrageous. So I said, how much is the total negative? It was like, listen to this. This is a whole school. It was only like $2,300. $2,300 negative, but I got kids not eating.
Yeah.
So first of all, I pulled my card out and I paid $2,300 on the spot to clear that book. But we have money in this country, to your point, to feed every child in every school. We have money to feed. I actually don't care if you work. I don't care if you're the most mediocre human being on fucking planet Earth. If you're alive,
president right
correct.
Now, fucking real mediocre.
Right. If you're alive, you deserve to eat. Food should not be a conversation. And I don't know who said it, but somebody mentioned the corporate welfare. That's the real fucking crime here, is corporate welfare. And so when I hear mostly white people and generally mediocre white people, complain about welfare, this is just a way to deflect from your own insecurities of failure and blame other poor people for you failing. Listen to me. Other poor people are not the reason you haven't made it. You are. Corporations are the ones holding you back. Either get on board with us and stop being a class traitor or shut the fuck up.
All right, hang on. 2 minutes, a word from our sponsor. We're back. We're hearing from more Senate Democrats. You're going to hear from them. Support for the show comes from Ollie. You know, I talk a lot about my dogs. I do. I talk a lot about my dogs all the time. Boomer, Barkley, and Gus Gus. And, you know, they're my family. So I'm picky about what I feed them. That's why I switched to Ollie. It is fresh human-grade food made with real ingredients like chicken, beef, and sweet potatoes, not mystery meat. Okay? You fill out a 30-second quiz, and then they build a custom plan for your dog. Since switching, my dogs have more energy. Their coats look amazing. Even Boomer, who is the picky one, actually runs to his bowl now. So go to ollie.com/lemon, tell them about your dog, and use lemon for 60% off of your first box. Plus, if you don't love it, they're going to refund you. That's OLLIE.com/lemon. Use the code LEMON for 60% off. Support comes from Cozy. The holidays, for me, mean one thing: quiet nights at home, tree lights glowing, dogs curled up, a fire, low music. That's when I reach for my Cozy Earth blanket. It is made from viscose from bamboo, so it keeps you warm but somehow cool at the same time. These make the perfect gift. I've given Cozy Earth sheets to friends and family, and everyone says the same thing. I can't sleep on anything else now. They're soft, they're breathable, and you get a 100-night sleep trial plus a 10-year warranty. And right now, their Black Friday sale is already live. Black Friday sale already live. So stack my code DON, stack it up for up to 40% off at CozyEarth.com. Trust me, wrap the ones you love in luxury or treat yourself with Cozy Earth. Thanks to our sponsors.
Well, Joe, you have to go back to what the strategy was at the beginning of the shutdown. There were two goals, both of which I support. One was standing up to Donald Trump. The other was getting some resolution on the ACA premium tax credit issue. The problem was the shutdown wasn't accomplishing either goals, and there was there was zero likelihood that it was going to. In terms of standing up to Donald Trump, the shutdown actually gave him more power, Exhibit A being what he's done with SNAP and SNAP benefits across the country. Oh, by the way, Joe, you're going to love this. Guess who's getting paid during the shutdown? Not the park rangers or air traffic controllers, the ICE agents. Under special law, under that big, awful bill that they passed last summer, the ICE agents are being paid. Nobody else is. So standing up to Donald Trump didn't work. It actually gave him more power. Rangers or air traffic.
Okay, so I was listening to Angus King there. And Angus King is saying negotiating with Trump did not work. What does that mean, negotiating with Trump does not work? Of course, negotiating with him, if you're going to cave, correct, it doesn't work. But, I mean, Trump was never going... Yeah, Trump, at some point, would have relented if it had gotten bad enough.
He already started, Don?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He started using the word... Sorry, my bad. He started using the word affordability. He started using the word affordability because he watched fucking Republicans get slacked on fucking November the 4th. He saw shit. Democrats talking about affordability and, oh, by the way, standing on business. And by Democrats, I mean Zohran Mamdani, and the other Democrats couldn't endorse him, but whatever. Well, he saw somebody talking about affordability that resonated with an entire city. He saw a Muslim socialist who was 34 years old get the overwhelming support of the largest city in America, despite billionaires paying for somebody else. And so Donald Trump, with his fucking big dirty diaper, came out the next day and said, affordability. He can't pronounce acetaminophen, but he can pronounce affordability on November 5th. And that's because he recognized we're getting our ass kicked. And this is to the point made earlier. Republicans had their back against the wall. November 4th showed that people are sick and tired of Republicans' bullshit, and the Democrats could not help but snatch defeat from the fucking jaws of victory and do this bullshit.
And Donald Trump said, make a deal no matter what. That is what he said this weekend. And so the idea that Donald Trump was unmovable, which, like you said, he started sounding like Zohran Mamdani, and even Steve Bannon was trying to attach Zohran Mamdani to Donald Trump as though they're both populists when Trump is all in the pockets of billionaires. And so the calculation did not change. Actually, it got more favorable towards Democrats as the shutdown went on. The math was still the same. There weren't any fewer or any more Republican senators. Mike Johnson didn't swear in Adelita Grajava. So you cannot say, well, this was never going to happen when you went down that path. If it was never going to happen, to do the same shit that you did in March and just don't even go through with the shutdown at all. I don't want to hear ever again from Democrats a shutdown threat. Just don't even fucking waste our time. I don't want to hear anything in January. I don't want to see that stupid ass ticker on CNN and MSNBC, number of days to shut down.
Countdown to shut down.
Spare us the fucking drama, okay? I'm over it. I don't want to hear about it ever again because you're too goddamn weak.
I want to ask you, Jack, you seem to have listened to, I didn't hear all of Angus King because as he was on TV, I was actually coming down and getting ready for this. I tried to listen to the sound, but I didn't hear the whole thing. My producers are telling me it's much worse than we painted it. Did you get to listen to Angus King speak about what I heard him last night?
Oh, I saw the one clip. I've tried to tune out most of this. I've been getting the Twitter clips. If I tuned in to everything that they said last night. I did watch the press conference last night, but if I tuned into everything they said this morning, I'd have a lot less hair today. Actually, maybe I wouldn't. I got plenty of it. We're fine. Maybe it would look better if I pulled it out a little bit. But do you have more of that clip, or did we just play it?
No, we played the clip coming out of the break.
Yeah, when he was like, "Oh, it's not going to work negotiating with Trump. We're not going to be able to beat Trump.
You can't stand up to Trump. You can't. It doesn't work." It's like then why are you there? Why are you there?
Resign.
Right, exactly.
Resign.
Yeah, fucking resign. That's the answer.
I know it sounds harsh, but I was listening to, these are my friends who work in the party, who are part of the, they're either consultants. Some people work in the party. Some people are consultants. Some are, strategists and all those things. And they're like, well, Dems didn't cave and it wasn't, what are we going to do? We're going to let people starve. And it's like, no, we don't want people to starve. But when you have momentum, when you're in the middle of a negotiation and you have, as Trump says, all the cards. Remember, he told Zelensky, you don't have the cards. Mm-hmm. When you start, when your hand starts to look good, you don't go, man, my hand looks great. I'm just gonna, no, I fold.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, I don't understand.
I know my hand's better than theirs, and they're putting their money in the pot. But I'm gonna fold before they lose.
But you said that he was already saying affordability, right? Talking about affordability. But do you think at some point that they would not have said, that Trump would have said, okay, we got to come up with some sort of compromise, if you just, because they had the votes.
Blow up the filibuster. Right. And it was funny because he didn't even want, he was saying day one, like Wednesday. Trump was like, well, we got to talk about affordability. Quite frankly, there's this word, affordability, and
everybody's using it.
And then they love me, and I'm affordable, or fucking something stupid like that. But then the next day, after one day, and I also found it hilarious. Like you saw, Vivek Ramaswamy, forgot he existed, but he was like, Republicans didn't do a good enough job messaging on affordability. I'm like, my man, messaging.
Did you see that?
You're in charge. It's not the message. You're in charge, and you didn't do anything. But Trump said it for a day. On a day, he was like, we got to do affordability. Next day, he was like, well, it's actually Fox News' fault, the Fox propaganda outlet, because they weren't giving me enough credit. He immediately moved on. It became the media fascination. It was the mainstream media wasn't doing enough for Trump. The mainstream media wasn't doing enough for Trump. Really? Are you serious right now? And so he moved on from it immediately. They weren't going to change. Trump was just pissed. He wanted Republicans to fold. He was telling them to blow up the filibuster. Yeah. You're talking about we don't have the cards. Trump was giving you the cards. He was showing you his hands.
Don, also, one thing to add on to what Jack is saying and respond to what you said, negotiation doesn't mean compromise. I'm fucking sick and tired of those two things somehow being conflated, okay? If I'm holding your fucking purse over the cliff, I'm going to drop your purse off the cliff where you pay me $20. It's not a compromise. You're paying me 20 fucking bucks. I hold all the cards.
Right.
So, when, to Jack's point, it was very clear Trump's back was against the wall. Republicans' backs were against the wall. It was very clear that Democrat messaging was working in making the everyday American understand that the shutdown was Republicans' fault. We had representatives outside Mike Johnson's office holding signs. We had, voters show up on the 4th. I mean, this was one big culmination of Democrats finally winning. So how do you negotiate from there? You tell these motherfuckers, I'm not going to let up until you get up.
Yeah.
You don't compromise. So this idea that you can't compromise with Trump lets me know you don't know the first thing about what a negotiation looks like.
Yeah. Well, and if folks said, people are not getting a paycheck or whatever, just say, blame the Republicans. Yeah. Just blame the Republicans every single time. So again, I hate to keep saying I don't understand it. I really am having a hard time understanding it. I think that these people think that it's like not even Barack Obama. Like, it's not even 2008, 2009. This is like 1992 style of negotiating, where you think where you're playing by the rules and the other side is not. The other sides have the cameras looking at your hand overhead and telling the other, you know what I'm saying? The other side is just totally cheating, and they're not cheating in private. They're playing in your face. They're doing it in the open. And you're just like, well, we have to do by the rules. We have to have morals. Fuck that.
No.
Right? I mean, go to the crust of the earth. Do not go high.
We're dealing with a lawless government. We're dealing with a government that is using all of its resources and weaponizing them against 2/3 of this country, maybe more. I mean, I really don't know too many people. We're dealing with
So then,
right,
what
exactly.
is the solution? What can people do now? Should Democrats have hope? What should Democrats do with their? Mike said, "Don't give them money, whatever." I don't know. I mean, they need money in politics. I don't know what the answer is.
I'm gonna tell you one solution.
You have to have a microphone in order to talk.
I'm gonna tell you one solution right now, and this is not the solution. It's a solution. A solution involves multiple solutions together as a coalition. Us as creators, as leftist creators, independent media on the social media platforms have started to form an alliance. Myself, Alex Perlman, Liz Booker Houston. I can make a long list. We've been talking since last night. We are refusing to platform Senate Democrats, message with Senate Democrats, interview with Senate Democrats, or talk to Senate Democrats until Chuck Schumer resigns as the minority leader of the Democrats. So we're putting our foot down. We're going on creator strike. We're holding the line. And we hope the other creators join us. If you're a creator on social media, join us. We will not message with or for Senate Democrats until Chuck Schumer steps down.
I'm in. I'm not talking to anyone. What about people who are calling on him to resign?
People that were doing what?
Let's say Chris Murphy seemed pretty pissed. Tomorrow he's like this. Chuck Schumer, done for. Are you going to talk to him about that, or are you just?
That's the only thing we talk about.
That's the only thing. Okay. That's it. I'm on board. Why do we need to talk to these people? They do not deserve our platform. People talk a lot about independent media. Sorry, I'm gonna give this back to you. People talk about a lot about independent media. Like, independent media is important. We got to do our thing, and I agree. But independent media that just acts as corporate media and you don't do anything different, you're just a person on a different show. And you're not bringing Don. You're bringing in different voices all the time. You're having real conversations. You're going and talking to people. And to just be like, well, I'm on YouTube and do the same shit as always.
Yeah.
And to kind of fall in line with what the party wants, it's not independent, right? You're not maybe corporate owned, but if the corporate interests controlling the Democratic Party and the Democratic establishment are telling you what to do through those elected officials, then you're kind of still corporate media. Agreed. So we all got to step up and make sure that people know we're going to be a little bit different. Sorry.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I'm sorry, Mike, but you're right. And I learned that almost immediately when I got into this independent media space, is that my subscribers and my viewers said, we don't want you in the studio. We don't want cable news light, because it looks like cable news light, right? Without all the fancy whoosh, and it's like, why are you trying to do that? You can sit in a diner, you can sit in a restaurant, you can sit in your living room, I can stand on the street corner. As long as I'm bringing the information, and the information is coming from a trusted, confident source, and you're keeping it real, then it doesn't matter, and you're not influenced by a corporation, people don't give a shit about all that other stuff. And I think that, look, I have friends. I don't go on legacy media that much. I do go on every once in a while. If it's a friend, I'll go on Ari Melber's show, or I'll go on Steph Rule's show, or something like that. But other than that, I don't go on there because I find that when I speak to Michael Wolff, he says the same thing. When I speak to my friend Jen Welch, when I speak to other people, they said they go on, and it's almost like these people are living in another world that's like maybe a couple of years before where we are now in some corporate media spaces for those who are trying to get out of it. And they don't even know what's going on. She's like, people say, I can't believe I'm having the conversations that I'm having. Yeah. So you're right. If you're going to be in this independent media space, then you need to be independent and not act like you're on corporate media or that you're owned by some corporation.
So that's all. Join us on our boycott. Join us.
Oh, no.
I want to interview any Senate Democrats.
We can't hear you, Jolly.
Yeah, but you can. We're not going to interview any Senate Democrats until Chuck Schumer steps down as the leader.
Ooh.
Join us.
Wow. Okay, go ahead. I don't know. Let me think about that one.
Well, no Senate Democrats or any members of Congress reach out to me for interviews or respond to my interview requests. So that I don't have to worry about that.
They should.
You're doing the right thing.
No, but
you will join us, though.
I will join you. I was going to say I stand on my words earlier. Stop giving money to the Democratic Party. Give money to organizations like Refuse Fascism, like FLAIR, like the Removal Coalition, organizations that are out here organizing, standing up to the administration. That's where our money should be spent right now. Yeah. And they're the only ones that are fighting this fight.
I'm seeing a lot of people like James McNeil in the comments saying, boycott with your paycheck. There was also someone saying, don't go shopping for a couple of weeks. That's what that worked for Jimmy Kimmel.
No, but I'm not naive. I don't think that we can replace every single member of Congress or every senator, but we could certainly demand the replacement of leadership. Yeah. Yeah. Hakeem Jeffries, time to go, buddy. Sorry. Chuck Schumer, long past time to go. Get out. Put somebody in there that's willing to fight on behalf of the American people, that's willing to respond to the will of the American people, and until then, stop giving money to the Democratic Party.
I do have to say,
shut them off.
The Democrats in Congress held out this time. Hakeem Jeffries held out.
Hakeem Jeffries did hold the line.
He held the line.
It took him too long to come around. We had two ginormous protests in this country, one record-setting, before you started to see, congressmen, Democratic members of Congress start to get on the party bus.
Well, we are seeing some change, like Morgan McGarvey, congressman in Kentucky, said not taking AIPAC money anymore. Seth Moulton said not only not taking AIPAC money, I'm sending it all back.
Giving back what I had, exactly.
Like we're seeing movement. That is again the thing. Like, yeah, you're right. We may not replace everyone. Not everyone's going to be perfect, but there is real movement happening. Like people are. I don't think we have ever seen establishment endorsements matter less. The corporate money matter less. It's just like, this is people power time. And I really think that we all need to be figuring out like the best way to put pressure. And you're laughing over there, Don.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at a note from, this is completely off subject, a note from my husband who said, the Supreme Court didn't bail you out. You're still stuck with me.
You can still do the Trump dance.
What happened to the Supreme Court? We
can all still do the Trump dance.
They're not going to send same-sex marriage back to the states or whatever. So
but
he said, you're still stuck
I want to, because you've been talking about it all day. I want to throw can you shed a little light for people who don't know about the Working Families Party?
Yeah. So listen, some of these candidates that we've been seeing come out of the woodwork that are impressing us and that are truly progressive, that are not taking AIPAC money, that are, listening to people and putting platforms together that are what people want to hear. People don't know this, but the Working Families Party has been behind many of these candidates. Because what happens is if you don't get on board with corporate establishment Democrats, then you don't get that corporate money. You don't get those big, injections into your campaign. So the Working Families Party said, I got you. They raised a bunch of money, and they started injecting money into these campaigns, and I love them. And it's no surprise that their national director is a black man, because continually black people can pick up where white people fuck up. Yeah. But so the Working Families Party has continually pushed more and more progressive candidates, and that has to be our answer. Our answer to these corporate donations and all these big money has to be, how do we get money to candidates that represent us? Yep. Because I stand by that the reason Senate Democrats broke the line was corporate money. So if we had something to counter that corporate money, maybe they would listen to us.
Should we run?
Should we run what?
Should we run for office?
All of us?
Yeah.
At once?
All of us.
Where are you
give him the mic. You can't hold on to the mic, sir.
Well, Don,
Either you don't,
Don,
you talk without it, or you want to hold on to it.
I'm 23.
Okay.
So
Are you 23?
That's an impediment.
Excuse me. Get the fuck out. Can you let him out, please? 23.
Great hanging out with y'all.
I mean, they haven't even dropped yet. You're 23 years old? Good Lord.
But are we running? No, fuck no. I was talking to John.
Well, but let me ask you guys this seriously. What do we? The engagement is incredible this morning, and why do you think so many people are interested in watching this morning? You think? Are you guys are you that pissed? Like, let us know, and if you have any questions for these guys, let them know.
You can use this.
Okay, go ahead.
So I will say this. I'm still a black woman in America that has to deal with an authoritarian regime where my citizenship has been stripped on a national level. I cannot move freely. My body is not autonomous depending on which state I'm in at that moment. And so for me, my focus is going to return, and it never left, but it's going to return to the Republicans. I don't have to convince people that Democrats are our saviors, because they're not. They're not the cavalry. They're not going to save us. However, we cannot wait until we're having an electoral discussion in 2026, because we might not get that far. And so we need people to understand the threat that they are under right now, immediately. We have to continue to connect the dots. We have to continue to speak on everything that Trump is doing, from these pardons, from his lies about tariff checks, from what he's doing in terms of these strikes on Venezuela and in the Caribbean. We have to continue to call out what's happening right now. And yes, there are many Democrats that suck ass. They're worthless, they're weak. And there are many Democrats that are doing a good job. The reason why Donald Trump was on the ropes with this SNAP stuff was because Democratic AGs sued this administration. Just like every single win and every single time that Trump has been blocked, it has been because of Democrats. It has not been because Republicans have stepped up. And so I'm angry, and I think why people are tuned in is because they are angry that Democrats took on a fight that they could not win. However, just because these Democrats could not win this fight does not mean that none of the Democrats are winning. And that's what I'm going to continue to recognize and point out, who is on our side and who is against us. And not just against us in terms of $15 minimum wage versus the federal minimum wage, or Medicare for all versus this. I'm talking about our existence. Yeah. That's what I'm fighting for. And so I join everybody in being pissed, but I will also be the first to say, okay, but now let's look at this strategy, the local electoral politics. My husband is the politician in the family, not me. And I will continue to call out how fucked up and demonic these Republican policies are.
Well, I will say, too, as well, go ahead, you can but I will say, too, as well, look, I haven't given up on the Democratic Party. We can bitch. I mean, this is like this is a bitch session. You can have a bitch session, and
we should become the Democratic Party.
We should, that's what it should
that's
be.
The point, but that's the point. To Reese's point, this is a two-party system.
And by the way, let me just say, I agree with Ket Mangusha, whatever, I can't even say it, in the chat. I am so pissed, but we can't give up. Release the Epstein files. Yes. Go ahead, John.
No. So to Reese's point, this is a two-party system. So now I'm going to go back to giving praise to the Working Families Party. Yeah. The Working Families Party has not asked anybody to change their party affiliation. What? They are backing people who are winning Democratic primaries. Right. They are backing people who are joining the Democratic primary and then winning them. Mm-hmm. And that is the way. What we do is we get a new party like the Working Families Party to get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 reps under this two-party system in, and then now we have a bunch of people in there who share these values that the Working Families Party shares, and then maybe they change their party, whatever. But a third party has to be a ground-up effort. I get so sick and tired of when every 4 years there's a third party candidate out there, Jill Stein, who's just fucking everything up, white lady. So there has to be a third, but I'm dead serious. Jill Stein comes out every 4 years, steals all the money, grifts the hell out of it, splits the vote, and then she's gone. Where's she at now? Where's she at? So
vacationing in Russia.
Third parties have to be built from the ground up, and again, the Working Families Party is doing that. They're backing people who are candidates But they're not asking them, don't be a Democrat, because they recognize we're in a two-party system. And they're doing it the right way. And they're back at progressive values. And to Jack's point, it's working. By us keeping our foot on their fucking neck, AIPAC money is starting to be just denounced. By us keeping our foot on their neck, people are starting to recognize, oh shit, these people aren't just as stupid as politics as they used to be, thanks to us independent media exposing what's happening behind the closed doors of Congress. So I agree with you. It's a two-party system. We must operate like it's a two-party system, but that does not mean that we let establishment, corporate-backed Democrats control the party or the narrative. We push them out, we get progressive Democrats in, and then we fight for a third party. That's the methodology.
I'm with that.
I say release the Epstein files.
Swear in, Adelita.
Let's not forget, like, a lot of this is over a distraction. A lot of this is a distraction from the Epstein files. Okay, so I've asked a million times, so you think that, I want to try to give people some hope before we let them go. I mean, is there any hope?
Adelita Grijalva is getting sworn in on Wednesday. She should be. Well, the House is back in session for the first time in 2 months, and that is what Mike Johnson said was the holdup. We know what the holdup was. It was the Epstein files. Our president is a pedophile. Let's make that clear. Let's make that obvious if it wasn't already. But she's probably... I hate that I even have to say probably at this point. Isn't that crazy?
He's a pedophile, allegedly.
No, I'm saying it's crazy that this is the problem. I'm not going to get Don sued. Allegedly. For the purposes of Don, I'll say it on my show. I'll take the lawsuit from Melania.
Reportedly. But we don't know that.
But isn't it? We don't. But isn't it crazy that we're still saying that Adelita Grijalva, House will be back in session, probably sworn in?
Yeah, it is crazy.
Like, how are the alarm bells not going off on that?
Yep.
But that is what you have to look forward to, is the squirming, the freak out that's going to happen in the White House over this vote. And, you know, when I asked Hakeem Jeffries about it, when you ask really any Democrat Congress, they're saying it's only going to be 218 signatures on that discharge petition, but the amount of House Republicans who will vote to release the Epstein files out of fear of what happened if they don't, and then the freak out that's going to come from Trump.
That's what people don't realize right there.
Because they're not going to sign the discharge petition, but when it comes to an up or down vote, there's going to be a lot of Republicans in the House and in the Senate who are going to have to vote for it, because they know that their constituents are going to lose their mind. Like, they can run away from questions from reporters, they can try to hide, they cannot talk about it, do town halls, but when it's an up or down vote, Trump is going to lose his mind. So you really have that to look forward to. The Truth Social meltdown is going to be beautiful. There's going to be ketchup all over the White House. I guess that is my positive note.
Someone in the chat said, panel, do you think part of the answer is getting more progressive candidates and primarying more conservative Democrats?
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100,000 fucking percent.
Yeah.
I told people, and that I remember in 2016, because I knew what was on the line with Donald Trump winning. I knew that Hillary Clinton, in order to have a democracy that we needed to, or at least some sense of normalcy, it needed to be Hillary Clinton, whether you liked her or not. Yeah. And then, the whole Bernie Sanders thing. So for a while, I didn't fuck with Bernie. I don't mean like I didn't agree with a lot of what he's saying. No, I totally fuck with Bernie. I'm like, Bernie was right the entire time, and I was, I was wrong somewhat on Bernie. I was shocked that at the Democratic convention back in 16 that there were actually people screaming Bernie after Hillary Clinton had become the nominee. That didn't happen at the Republican convention when after Donald Trump became the nominee. Everybody stood by
hate, Don. They're unified by hate. They're unified by bigotry. To Jack's point, the reason they don't want Adelita Grijalva to be the 218th signature is because then Mike Johnson will be forced to call this on a vote to a floor. To anybody who don't understand how this works, when the vote goes to the House floor, every single Republican will have to go on the record as to how they vote on releasing these files. And they're actually worried about that's where the unification breaks. Right now, they're unified, but they're hanging on by a thread. As soon as this vote goes to the floor, people got to say yay or nay. And it's already been made clear, Republicans have said, they will break rank when that happens. They're not going to vote yes to protect pedophiles. So what Mike Johnson wants to do is push this vote off until December 2nd to get that counter vote in on that special election that's running out in Texas somewhere. So that's the finer points of these politics. But to your point, we're a big tent party. We need to realize that some of our candidates go further right and some of our candidates go further left. And we're not going to unify the way the Republicans unify under a feeling. We have to unify under an idea.
Yes.
We have to unify under a plan.
But Jolly, the energy in the party is on the progressive side.
Well, but here's the thing. You're talking about unifying under an idea. People are asked, like, how did Dems win some of these tougher Senate races? Honestly, I think we run independents. Dan Osborne, Nebraska, we need more of that. Even like talk about Ohio, talk about Missouri. Like I don't care if you're Bernie Sanders is an independent. He's one of the most progressive Democrats out there. Yep. We take such a hit because of the Chuck Schumers, because of the strongly worded letters. We take such a hit in our party brand that if you look at these Midwest states, like you can have a candidate like Sherrod Brown, right? Who people are like, this is an economic populist, this is a guy, back and working people. But if you just attach the D to his name, he loses 10 points right away. And so I think we do need to run independents and run on our ideas because they're popular and run on this ideology of progressive economic populist movement. And we can have some independence, right? Like, let's make the tent big. It does not require throwing trans people under the bus. It does not require, saying, oh, well, we're going to be anti-abortion. Like, that doesn't make any sense. It requires us saying, you know what? If the Dem brand's not right, if people are not rocking with it, let's just run some independents in the states where it's tougher to win. Yeah. And having that D in front of your name is a killer. And let's bring those people into the tent. I think that's fine.
I'm seeing in the chat also people saying this is not going to pass the House. I don't believe that that's right. I think they already have the votes in the House to do this. Huh?
What's not going to pass that?
This what the Senate is doing. They said that the House won't. Yeah,
it's 100%.
It's 100% going to pass the House.
That's what they wanted.
Yeah,
giving Republicans what they want.
Right.
They're not voting. Yeah. They're the majority party.
They're the majority. They have the vote. So.
What can I say, Don?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want people to put their money where their mouth is, because there's always a conversation about we need more progressives, and this, that, and the other, and then people don't vote. And so I hate to get back to electoral politics because I know that's a ways off, but put your money where your mouth is. You have Jasmine Crockett, who is flirting with the Senate campaign in Texas. I don't want to hear she's a black woman, she can't win, or we have to go with the most squeaky clean and non-threatening white man in Texas if we want to have a chance. If you want to say that you want fighters, if you want to say that you want a progressive. And so I'm looking to the voters who are pissed off, the non-voters who are pissed off, to put some action behind their sentiment and their attitude. And I'm looking for the fighters to get the support, because often the fighters get voted out. Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, a whole bunch of other people like that have been voted out.
They're terrified.
Or they don't win primaries. And so at a certain point, we can only place so much blame on the Democratic Party for looking the way it does when people allow it to look the way it does because of their inaction or because of who they're voting for.
Yeah. And let's be really aware that those corporate interests, they really like going after black progressives.
Oh, yeah,
They're like, oh, this is going to be easier. They love going after them. Mm-hmm. They really do. Yeah. It's why they spend all that money.
All right, guys. Thank you. I hate to leave because, today's engagement is incredible through the roof. You hate it.
I hate it. What are you throwing me under the bus for?
And watch later on these guys' channels, because it's going to run on their channels a little bit later if you want to share it with your friends. Reecie Colbert, what's your show?
Reecie Colbert Show on Sirius XM Urban View. I'm on Clay Kane Show. Shout out New York Times bestseller Clay Kane. Tuesdays and Thursdays, Sirius XM Urban View. I'm on Roland Martin Unfiltered Thursdays. Follow me, Reecie Colbert, on all socials. I'm pissed off, but I'm still going to bring it back to reality and give you the solutions that we should be working for in a pragmatic way. Okay, and with some cussing.
And don't forget about your games.
Oh yes, okay. And I have 2 card games that I created and I own it. Trademarks, hello. Sounds About Right is my trivia game, and Am I Trippin' is my party conversation game. So cop that, amitrippinggame.com. Thank you, Don.
Yes, of course. Independent. Go ahead, Mikey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so follow me on, follow my show, Michael Fanone, on YouTube. I'm on all the social media platforms, and if you want to support me, I am, an independent media personality. You can follow my Substack as a paid subscriber. I truly appreciate it, and that's what keeps me going. So thank you.
If you're on YouTube, if you're watching on Instagram, if you're on YouTube, Jack Cocchiarella Show, last name Cocchiarella, difficult to spell, JD Cocchiarella, I know, right? Shout out the Italians. They didn't make it easy on me. On Instagram, JD Cocchiarella, go give me a follow over there, but hang out on YouTube. I'll be back soon, hopefully have a little more breakfast.
Why don't you shorten it just like Jack Koch or something?
because I want to keep the family name. I probably could, but people will figure out how to spell it.
Okay.
I'm not going to accommodate the people. The people can figure out how to spell it.
Maybe I'm old school, but yeah. They tried to get me to change. When I first started, people were like, one of my first news directors said, "Do you ever think about changing your name, Don Lemon? Like what about like Don Smith?" And I'm like, "Are you out of your mind? Like people pay for a name like Don Lemon, like right? Like Jack Lemon. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Unique, and it'll stand out.
It's unique, yeah. But she thought it made me sound silly and like, you're not a news anchor. It's like whatever, because your name is Lemon.
Look at me now.
Yeah.
Million subscribers on the way.
I am Jolly, Jolly, Good Ginger. I made that name way before I thought people would actually follow me, but now it's my name. So Jolly Good Ginger on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and probably another platform, Substack, everywhere. Just follow me, find me. I cuss a lot, a lot.
So people are telling me to get off of Jack's back. Let him be Italian. Keep your name.
You're an Italianist.
I'm just saying.
When this person,
I'm a pretty good speller, and I'm having a hard time.
People don't want to talk. I know. See, I'm going to start. I was keeping him under the table the entire time. But you know what? But we are Cuomo. No Cuomo though.
No homo?
We can discriminate. No Cuomo. We can discriminate against that Italian.
You know that
he does
saying.
not represent us.
Yeah, that saying is no homo. That just sounded like whatever. No. This has devolved into a whole lot of things. Thank you guys for watching. Okay, so look, I appreciate you watching. You know what I say all the time. I'll be back here. As a matter of fact, we're in D.C. For the next couple of days. I'm going to go. We're going to do some Man on the Streets. We'll probably pop up live occasionally throughout the day and this evening. But you know we're back here for sure at 5 o'clock Eastern time, as we are every day, every weekday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Don Lemon Show on the Don Lemon Channel. So I see you back here at 5 o'clock. Be informed without being inundated, and turn the TV off. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern time, with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.